We're supposed to be walking pure and not walking as the lost. This, he goes through a long list as we would do with as you would do with in works of the flesh and works of the Spirit, as we just learned in the book of Galatians. The lost have, as we all know, what they're about, and we're not supposed to be about that. 2, walk in pure living. And God specifically defines for us what the purity would be. Verse 22 in chapter 4 would be that you put off concerning the former conversations the old man which is corrupt according to the deceitful lust, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and that you put on the new man which after God is created in righteousness and true holiness. In other words, the distinctiveness. In verse 25, wherefore putting away lying, and he's going to go through now through the rest of the chapter, even go through chapter 5 as far as all the things that we're supposed to put off and the things that we're supposed to put on. And so we have just the things that would be characteristic of our flesh. Lying, laziness, anger, corrupt communication, filthy communication, things that don't edify, the bitterness, the anger, the wrath, the clamor, the evil speaking. We're told even going into chapter 5, like fornication, uncleanness, covetousness. Covetousness is likened to idolatry, actually, we're told, not just in this chapter, in chapter 5, but also in the book of Colossians as well. And these things will not just put a hindrance in your walk with God, but they'll kill your walk with God, basically. And these things by nature are in us. This is who we are by nature because of our old man. But we don't have to submit to him. We can rather choose by the grace of God, by the power of the Holy Spirit that He lives inside of us, to be the new man, to live the new man, to walk out the new man. Then our walk with God, be a follower of God, walk as Christ, walk circumspectly. In other words, be diligent about looking about the direction that I'm going, my priorities, how I'm walking, how I'm living. And then walking in the Spirit. Verse 18, that we're supposed to be not drunk with wine wherein is excess, but be filled with the Spirit. I'm supposed to be controlled with the Spirit of God. And so rather than have my flesh or this world or any other thing control me, the controlling factor that's supposed to be the directive of my life is the Holy Spirit of God. This is how I'll have a walk that'll be pleasing to God, to where I'll be able to hear, "Good, well done, thou good and faithful servant." Our walk in submission. This falls under just my relationship with other people. I'm supposed to be, as we're told here, submitting ourselves one to another in the fear of God. And submission, the things that will facilitate submission is the fact that, one, I would have a fear of God, but 2, primarily, it's a recognition. I'm no better than anybody else. I really don't. I'm not really any smarter, any faster. I'm not. The Lord may allow me a position of authority, or the Lord may allow maybe me to be in a position of higher responsibility over anybody else, but the fact of the matter is it's a stewardship. And I'm there only because God allowed me, because He's the one that raises up or brings down. He's the one that promotes, or He's the one that exalts, and He's the one that abases. Morning. And so we're told submission here. We're supposed to be walking in. Submitting also is the key to the relationships that are stated here, as far as the husband with the wives, which is pretty much the whole rest of the chapter, but also as far as children obeying the parents, workers being good workers for their bosses, and even bosses being good bosses to their workers. The key would be submission first primarily, obviously, to the will of God, to the Holy Spirit, and then to the fact that I'm not my own. I'm bought with a price. God owns me. And then our walk in victory to finalize, we stand in the power of the Lord and the power of His might. In other words, we're supposed to stand. We have forces that are working against us to destroy us. I know a lot of times we may be overlooked at, and I don't want to have a mindset that, okay, there's a demon behind every corner, but it is true. We have, we do have an enemy, Satan, who's walking around seeking, as a roaring lion, whom he may devour. And the thing is, I may not see him with my eyes, or maybe feel him physically, but he's real. And he wants to make a ruin of everybody's life. He can't take you to hell because you're already saved, but he can render us ineffective through the influence he has that we would allow in our lives. And so the thing is, it's very crucial that we would stand in the power of God's might. Otherwise, we're gonna get tore up. We're gonna get tore up very badly, very quickly. I am no match for that man, for that critter. I have no desire to confront him. I'll be honest with you, can't wait for the day when Christ comes back and does away with him, to be honest with you. But I have no desire to be one of these guys that runs around and, try and kick the devil and all this other kind of crazy stuff. He's a very, very, very conniving critter, and he's very strong. I'm not, I'm a human man, I'm weak. It's just the truth. I need God. So I need God's power, I need God's strength in order to be able to stand. And we're told here specifically why. It says, put on the whole armor of God that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. And then verse 13, wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God that you may be able to withstand, and in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Two things I wanted to point out with regard to this. This is not offensive necessarily. I'm supposed to withstand and to stand. In other words, I take a fighting stance, but God does the fighting. Does that make sense? I'm not powerful. I don't have anything in me except the Holy Spirit of God, and I have God. But God fights the battle. And so the thing is, I'm going to get attacked. But I withstand the attack, and in having done all to withstand, I'll be able to stand when everything's said and done. But this is preceded by the fact that I have the whole armor of God on me, and that I'm standing in the power of His might. So the thing is, the battle is the Lord's. I know we've heard that, but the battle is God's. God fights the battle. Okay? I take a fighting stance to withstand, and I stand after having done all to withstand in the power of His might, having His armor on. Because He's the strong one. I'm just weak flesh. And that's not an excuse to, not fulfill responsibility. That's not giving an excuse to run away and not fulfill responsibility. That's just being honest. God is the strength here. Otherwise, what you end up having to do is trying to take upon yourself something that you're not going to be able to do. And Satan's going to have his way with you with that. God fights the battle. And the spiritual battle here, we're told two things: fight spiritual problems with spiritual weapons, which we go through the list here, and we have loins girded about with truth, breastplate of righteousness, feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace, taking a shield of faith, helmet of salvation, sword of the Spirit. And in verse 18, a lot of times this is overlooked, but praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit. and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints. In other words, prayer is as much a weapon